Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome back. It's of course been a very, very long time, but it has passed the Rings of Power, and now we are into the period for the Lord of the Rings, not Wings, the Lord of the Rings, the War of the Rohirrim. So yes, there is a lot to talk about. We do know it's been um, quite a while since we've been live, so we're gonna try start these up again over the next few Sundays. Get excited for the film that's coming up very, very soon. We have a lot of quite excited people here for the film. Starting all the way on the left, we have Shiv. Hello, my friend.
Hello, hello. Happy to be here.
Great to have you on. Nick. Hello, my friend.
Hello, hi everyone. Nice to be here as well.
Amazing, amazing. V. Hello, hello.
Quick hello because the church is going off next to me. I
Okay.
hope it ends soon. So, hi
Uh,
everyone.
nice, amazing. So yes, of course, yeah, as mentioned, it's been a while. A lot of stuff has come out around the War of the Rohirrim, and we've had the trailer, we've had some song updates, we've had an indication of a worldwide premiere, which is quite exciting. And me and Nick will be out, which is also very exciting in London. So if you are going, let us know and hope to see you there. But beyond that, we also have some very cool bits of clips. We've got a first clip from Warner Brothers from the film. And yes, we have some small promo about Philippa Boyens having the chance to visit, I think it was Tolkien's house and stuff like that. So yep, a lot of fun stuff. But I think we have to actually we do have some big updates as well around new actors for the film, etc. And also who's attending the premiere. So yes, hopefully it'll be a jam-packed episode. But first off, let's start off with I guess what the biggest thing is. And again, I know one thing, it says Warhammer Wednesdays at the top. Apologize for that. I don't really know how to remove that. So that'll be for Kyle when he's back. So yes, I know it's a Sunday, but yeah, we'll pretend it says Sunday. Perfect. Okay. So we've got this trailer, and of course, we can't play the music. But actually, I've got a question for you guys. What's everyone's thoughts on the War of the Rohirrim using a lot of the movie stills and recordings in basically their promo? Because I know it's a really bad film, but I did watch Venom 3 in cinemas yesterday. Don't ask why. Um, but in on the trailers, it started off with footage from the Two Towers. I thought they re-releasing the Two Towers. Then it went into the War of the Rohirrim. So I was wondering, there's been a lot of discussion around this. Does anybody have an opinion of them reusing movie footage for and even like this Peter Jackson presents like thoughts on this for the marketing so far? Any thoughts?
I think it's good. I think for the old casual fan. I think it's just to kind of bring them back into it and saying, it's the same production
Yeah.
behind the original Lord of the Rings, and it's like it's Peter Jackson and he's presenting this one. So I think reusing the original footage, I think is absolutely fine. Like I say, for that casual viewer, just bring them back in. Obviously, we all know who's making it, and it's that team behind it. But I suppose it's to get it like familiarize yourself with Rohan, the landscape, and where we touched on Rohan in the original trilogy and stuff, and what characters, and especially with Eowyn narrating as well, like just touching on that character again. So I don't mind it necessarily. It just brings that nostalgia back. It's been over 20 years since we revisited that trilogy, so I suppose it's get people back in the fold on that front.
Fair enough, fair enough. I think that is a fair viewpoint. I know even in Melian has in chat has said I kind of like it. It seems familiar to us, yes. And then Mr. TNT has mentioned I think it's relying on the movie footage too much. It probably helps bring in new viewers, which I think is also the second point, as Nick is what you were trying to get at there as well. So yes, that is just one thing. But one thing I want to ask now that we've got more of a fully fledged trailer, what is everybody's thoughts on the animation? How it's looking so far? So I know some shots, like for example, even let's look at this shot. Is it what you're expecting? Does anybody really watch animes here and have any idea of what the art direction is or what type of style they're going for? Or is it or just even just general thoughts on how you feel like the animation is so far?
Well, I think if I remember correctly, for the Warhumans, is we didn't really have any casual anime viewers amongst us, really, apart maybe from working. So most of us are not very familiar with that style. Me as well. I haven't really seen that kind of style since I was like watching cartoons on the TV, like when I was little, and even then, it wasn't like that. It was more like kids friendly like designs. It's quite interesting to get to see this. Like I've said before, I want new interpretations of Lord of the Rings characters and new styles and art form and um, fleshing out of the characters in different art styles, because I think it's beautiful to get to see what other people, how other people view Middle Earth and how they interpret it and style it, etc. It still brings vibes from the movies. I mean, it's expected, and but at the same time, it brings something new, and I think it's very beautiful designs overall. That sort of blend a new thing with the nostalgia and familiarity from the trilogy, and that's what has been done like in the trailer as well. Although I would like to see less footage of the Lord of the Rings trilogy moving on, like the trailer was enough to make the connection since we have Miranda Otto narrating as well. I think it's time like to move on to the newer things and showcase more of the film and the plot and stuff like that as the days come closer to the premiere. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Cool. No, I think that's a fair take, and I think, yeah, also find that balance, and also the new Lord of the Rings. People getting their almost visual styles, new art directions is always interesting. So yeah, um, yeah, and again, as you said, it does look. First of all, Edoras looks almost so similar to look at the Hall, for example, Golden Hall. So yeah, a lot of familiarity with the Peter Jackson films. So yeah, but it's like some things look amazing. I think close-ups like this, I think are great. And then it's just I'm hoping that in the final cut, like few of these shots, if you get what I mean, it just maybe it'll be fully a bit more fledged out. But yeah, we'll see how it looks like on the big screen. So yeah, so yes, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. But one interesting aspect, and I think the big thing, it comes down to this lady here, Hera. So there's been lots of discussion. So we know in the Lord of the Rings, in the appendices, there is mention, I believe, of a daughter for Helm as in the lineage. And of course, it's not fully fleshed out, as a lot of the stuff and women characters in Tolkien, a lot of the time it was like, okay, yes, this son of this, yeah, this new Northern king had one, but we don't really know who they are. So, for example, it's like similar to in Rings of Power, someone like Aardian. So, but then with this film, and even in the trailer so far in promotion, it seemed like Hedda is being billed to be one of the main characters, even though. So yeah, so I was want to hear, of course, Helm Hammerhand. He is, of course, I guess the focal point of the film, because that's what the War of the Rohirrim is around. But I've always personally understood the fact that, first of all, if you even look at the whole cast, it's like 95% guys anyway, so it's not the end of the world. But second of all, yeah, pretty much everybody else dies. And oh, sorry, spoiler for the movie. If you, I'm guessing if you're here, what happens in the story. So yeah, spoiler warning. Click off if you don't want any spoilers for the film. But yeah, for people who are watching, that's your spoiler warning done. Yeah, pretty much most people die. So I want to hear you guys' thoughts on Hedda. I think we'll start with Shiv. You got to speak to Gaia Wise, so who is the voice actor for Hedda. So yeah, let's start. And also, give us a quick rundown of your experience at New York Comic Con.
Sure. Yeah, it was a lot of fun meeting the cast and crew of War of the Rohirrim. Gaia Wise just seemed effortlessly talented. Like you could clearly see like her passion for acting just by talking with her. Um, but yeah, we got to see a couple of clips um, during the panel presentation at Comic Con. Is seeing seeing this portrayed on like a large screen with a good sound system, it was pretty easy to immerse myself back into Middle Earth. So where if you guys are looking at the trailer on like a computer screen or your phone, you might be like, it might be harder to get immersed. But I promise you, if you see this thing in theaters, you'll pretty fastly get immersed and feel like you're watching like one of the original movies. So um, and that's coming from someone that doesn't really watch a lot of anime or anything like that. I came with an open mind and kind of hearing Stephen Gallagher's Howard Shore, like it felt pretty good, pretty epic, and I'm looking forward to seeing it and see where it goes.
Exciting. Yeah, I think that's very encouraging to hear. Yeah, that once we see it on the big screen, it's going to be a lot more for you. Like on par with like the whole how do you say, the whole showcase of the other film. So yeah, that's cool. And of course, you want to check out more of Shiv's brilliant interviews with the cast, then go over to her Instagram. We've also posted a video where yes, we see him talk to a lot of the people there, including Philippa Boyens, which is very, very exciting. So yes, thank you for that quick rundown, Shiv. So next up, as we go back here, so yeah, Hera, that's who you're talking about. So yeah, I know as Atoki Senpai mentions, who besides Helm's daughter could be a viewpoint character without changing the law. Everyone else seemed to die. So yeah, V, I know you're even writing a video for us on Hera at the minute. So yeah, do you want to give us another quick, your thoughts on how her involvement's going to be like in the film?
Yeah, so I won't spoil the entirety of the video that I'm planning. I mean, you can't really do it anyways because there isn't almost anything to know about her. She's the unnamed daughter of Helm Hammerhead. Like, even if you search in any of the fandom, go to Wikipedias like Tolkien Gateway or the One Ring Network, whatever, you see like the family tree is Helm, his two sons, Haleth and who is the one, and Hama, and then Helm's daughter, unknown. We don't know when she was born, when she died, nothing. So, and it's quite common for unnamed daughters and stuff like that to exist and maybe like survive even later after the rest of the family dies out. And basically what happens is afterwards, Freelove is the ones that takes the throne, who is like the son of Helm's sister, like Hild. So again, it goes to a man, obviously. So we don't really know if she got married to another like prominent family in Rohan, or if she like died at during the siege of Helm's Deep. Basically, we don't really know anything for her apart from that Freka proposed a marriage proposal between her and Wolf, his son. So her part in the story is only remained to be discovered. And what happens usually with royalty in those times, inspired in medieval times, the women don't really have a say in their marriage and who they will marry, etc. Although we see in the trailer that she doesn't want to marry Wolf. And I don't know if Helm took that into consideration before deciding, or if Helm didn't want altogether because he found Freka's line to be too polluted with Dunlending blood, and therefore not enough, or not good enough for his daughter. So it's quite interesting to see her viewpoint, and I think it was quite smart from the writers to choose her, because the viewpoint from women in those situations is that they see everything that happens around them and they feel the consequences most of all. usually when like sieges happen, and the men just go out and die. So the one that who will survive most possibly from the siege is someone from the royal family that doesn't go out to battle to die. And at the same time, Rohan has this interesting thing where most of their women knew how to fight. So it's quite possible for her to be involved in that at the same time. So I think it's quite a smart decision. I really want to see how they will play it out. And also the interesting thing to keep in mind is that the Japanese and the American trailer has a very different point of view. And in the American trailer, it seems more that Hera is the protagonist, while in the Japanese, it focuses more on Hammerhand and other people. So I think it will be a movie of many protagonists, and one viewpoint that will get us through the end will be Hera. And since Eowyn is narrating and saying that story to someone, then we can guess that Hera is basically the person that she aspired and looked after too. So that's why they chose her.
Nice. Yep. No, thank you for that rundown. I think it does justify why it would make sense to have a character like Hera in this. And yeah, and actually Mickey Mouse, who we'll go into in a second, does have a very good question about that. But firstly, hello, Strider.
Hey, how's it going?
Great. Good. Great to have you here. And maybe do you want to tackle this one then? Do you think we will see Hera dying heroically in battle? I know it kind of invalidates what we just said, or how they handle her role in the throne succession, because maybe that's more of the question here. How will Hera be involved in the throne succession if, again, we presume she survives till the end of the film?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, first of all, that is always a good assumption that non-canon or like non-fully canon character whose fate we do not know might die in order to get the stakes even higher and like to just emphasize the danger of whatever's happening on screen. The other thing, and it would kind of also make this a slight reference to that line that Eowyn says, even if you don't use a sword, you can die on a sword. I mean, which obviously Hera will be using swords, but still, it would drive this point further. But the other thing that could happen is she could decide, like she maybe could be a person who doesn't want the throne, so she just doesn't. In some way, she could dismiss, maybe, like she could just refuse. Hey, I don't want to be. I just want to do my stuff on my own. I want to be an adventurer or whatever. She could just go on and be like, hey, I'm not interested in being a noble woman. I don't want to. There is also the fact that Rohan is, I think of all the kingdoms in Middle-earth, Rohan is like the most standard medieval type kingdom. And to have a female on the throne is something that canonically did not happen there. It did happen in Gondor. It did happen. Well, I don't think it happened in Gondor, but it did happen in Numenor. It did happen in other places. But yeah, Rohan. I mean, we know that she's not going to end up being the queen, so she might refuse it in some way. Or I mean, they will probably find a way to set it up. But I think it would be an interesting situation if she actually somehow ended up dying. Though it would be nice that she has a happy ending. But yeah, I think that's a pretty likely. I feel like it's like 50-50. She could very much just die heroically because we don't know how they're going to resolve all this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly. That is with a kind of a movie that's already everything about throughout the Legendarium. We know about the story. We still have this, even going into it as Tolkien fans, we still have this unresolved part that we can still look forward to, or essentially as well. So yeah, that's the good part of it. I know people say that's kind of like reason having original characters, original storylines, but it's a nice way of like making it more lore friendly and with the plot as well. Having someone like Hera not knowing how she's going to be involved in how it all goes, which is quite exciting. So yeah, very interesting there. But further as we go along here, we have first of all, we've got quite a lot of creatures in this. We've got a Mumakil, as we can see right here, and we've got an eagle. Does anybody have any ideas of what's the purpose of having this eagle here? Does anybody have any theories or speculation for the eagle?
Could be some kind of like a symbolical scene to emphasize her freedom. Like if the bird doesn't play a big role in the movie, it could just be like Hera on one of her wanderings, and like maybe to showcase her adventurous, free spirit that she hangs out with.
Yeah.
That she has this connection with an eagle. But it is quite unusual, honestly, to have this eagle here. So I think everybody's curious how this will make sense within the whole story, and will they speak or not?
Mhm. Definitely, definitely. And I'm pretty sure this is one of, if not the first scene in the film as well. So, with the eagle, so maybe it's like the beginning part of like, okay, almost like, how's the best way to explain it? It's almost like she's almost gonna set herself up her goal or something with the eagle, and it's like then they come back to the eagle at the end or something like that. Just a way to, position the story, or it can be like a landmark, something for her. Yeah, I think even as a Toki Senpai says, I think the eagle appears early, main for the plot kicks in. Yeah, which could definitely be the case. So yeah, very, very, very interesting there with that. With the eagle. And I think the rest of this trailer pretty much this looks very reminiscent of something else. I wonder if anybody can match what this is very reminiscent of.
I wonder if this will be the opening scene of the movie.
Yeah, it would be. Or if you want to
Can't wait.
go, yeah. Or it could be a flashback. I'm pretty sure we do get to see a. Oh, by the way, another very cool shot of this eagle. Doing away. They've gone fully white, which is very interesting as well for the design of it. But yeah, that is that is something. But yeah, I'm pretty sure somewhere in here I did see a flashback scene of Hera when she was younger. Maybe it's her with her brother or something like that. But
I
yeah,
think it's with Wolf, wasn't it?
oh
Or
Wolf. Was it with Wolf? Oh,
I
very
think so.
interesting. While we're on the topic of Wolf, first of all, that's very interesting. That the flashback could be with him. But what do we expect from the central villain of this essentially this movie is someone that's not like archetype, like the archetype Tolkien, evil, Sauron, Morgoth, just typical Nazgul, something like that. It's not like plain black and white. It's a human character. It's one of the first times we're seeing in a Middle Earth adaptation a villain which is essentially not the main antagonist being someone that's essentially human. And what different type of almost feeling or like dynamic would this create with having someone like Wolf, a human, be the central antagonist of this tale? Shiv, any ideas?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I was as I was like at Comic Con, I was trying to think of questions to ask, and I froze up a bit talking to him to Luke. But one of the things I was wondering is like, it's got to be very difficult to play that role because, from my understanding, his father dies, and I don't know, like it's like one of those questions. What would you do in that situation? Like, would you seek revenge for that, for something like that? Like, and kind of tempted by evil, and yeah, it kind of reminds me of like it's kind of a style of movies nowadays. Like, you think of like Breaking Bad, where Walt starts doing it because he's trying to provide for his family and kind of just can't get out of his own way and ends up doing some really horrible things. Could be a similar thing here, or they could have a story arc where Freka tries to redeem himself towards the end, or Wolf. I mean, Wolf. I don't know. I'd be curious.
I think it's interesting to have a character like this, and like they have a lot of, we'll see if they'll do it in less than 2 weeks, but I really like the possibility that as of yet is still in the air for all of us here, that we could get this very like 3D character, because he could, I mean, obviously he could be. There's a lot of conflict that they could give to him, because okay, this man just killed my father. I can very easily go to war, but do I want to bring war and suffering to hundreds and thousands of people? Or maybe he could get pressured into it, or like, it's the code of honor, like he gets pressured into a war despite his despite his reasoning, perhaps because of the societal pressure. I think there's like a lot of cool stuff that they could do with him, but yeah, well, I guess we'll see. We'll have to see.
Yeah, definitely. And I know nowadays there's been a lot of things that people start getting a bit attached to the villain now. So, or like kind of, thinking he's not rooting for him, but like it's like, yeah, making them a bit more likable nowadays. So I wonder if Wolf will get some of that, oh, I feel bad for him, I feel sorry for him. We'll have to see how how that will play out, because I'm sure again, don't want to make too many parallels to other Tolkien adaptations, but that seems to be quite a prominent thing at the minute. So yeah, we'll have to see. And yeah, as Shiv says, how will he get the Kylo Ren treatment? Certainly, we'll have to see. So yeah, no, that is a lot from the trailer. I'm guessing you guys have watched the trailer. Is there anything I've missed from the trailer that you'd like to discuss before we move on? If not, then that is perfect. And then yeah, we can get on to the next thing, which is first something pretty cool, which I was wanting to, in case people weren't aware, because it did get quite lost in all the recent news. But Dominic and Billy will be returning for unconfirmed voiceover roles in The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. So they are part of the cast. So they're voice actors. So first of all, it's really nice to see them back. And does anybody have any ideas of who my voice? Do you think it would be like a small role? I know someone above mentioned, yeah, maybe it could just be an orc, one of the orcs, but
I think they're orcs. Just because I think I've seen some behind the scenes stuff, and the way that they're using their facial expressions while they're recording, it does seem very orc-like, and they're a bit hunched over and using like their jaws a bit more. So I would place a good bet that the line at the end where it says, "What does Mordor want with rings?" is either Dom or Billy.
yeah, which is of course quite ironic because
Yeah.
with everything that
You know,
goes on.
I watched in first season. I think it's first season of Legend of Vox Machina. Dominic Monaghan plays this badass, rough and gruff dwarf fighter. And like, I did not realize that, and only after, like, I don't know, at some point I paused. I don't know, and you know, like how on Prime you can see like it shows you like who the actors on screen when you pause. It shows you like some of the bits of the scene. It's like, Dominic Monaghan, what? And then I actually went, and it's like, oh yeah, actually his voice just got like 10 times deeper since the Lord of the Rings, so he can now just pull off like a dwarf or an orc easily. So I think Nick is, yeah. I think Nick's bet. I would go. I would take it. I would double up on that.
I got good odds. Strider. We'll go for it.
Nice, nice one. Nice. So yeah, no, okay, I think that kind of solves it then. Yeah, I think in that behind the scenes video, which I'll try get up in a bit, you can tell they're really in it. So it would make sense if it's more, having to use a deeper role. And also, while we're on that, look at all the people that will be attending. Peter Jackson, which makes sense because he's producer. It'd be interesting to hear if we'll see or hear a lot from him, because he did actually in fact give Kenji Kamiya, say his name. He gave him a sword, one of the Rohirrim swords, which was pretty cool. But except from that, we haven't heard too much from Peter Jackson so far, who is now executive producer on this. So do you guys expect we'll get a little note from him, or a cliff note from him, or maybe a speech or something around the film endorsing it in any ways? over the next week or two.
I wouldn't be surprised if he does a little announcement or something.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, is it possible that, sometimes before movie starts, they have like a little clip play at the start? I think they do that sometimes in cinemas. So maybe it'll be him give. I know Ryan Reynolds has had it for Deadpool a lot. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's something like that. But instead of being comedic, just like a little video thing before they start. So yeah, that could be something which would be very, very interesting. But I think, that covers that. Dominic and Billy Boyd will be back for the Lord of the Rings, the War of the Rohirrim. And yes,
I
it's
have a
barely
theory. Now
Go
that we mentioned the extra videos and stuff, what if like the rings and the Mordor stuff and the Billy Boyd Dominic voiceover is a post-credit scene, and they hinted it in the trailer?
Ah,
Because
so
like it doesn't match for me exactly in the normal duration of the film to have like orcs looking for rings. But like as a post-credit scene to like set up something else, a next project, it could make sense.
It could have been
interesting.
it could have been misleading editing, but at the New York Comic Con clip that they showed, it did. I don't know. Well, this is getting into spoiler territories for people, but the scene was edited where it looks like the orcs looking for rings are in the snow. Hera comes like, "Oh God, I got to get away from this." Gets captured, and then she's saved by her father, which they were kind of like saying that he's like a wraith, like a legend. So based on the way it was framed in that cutting of that clip, it seems like it was a prominent part of the movie, but could definitely be wrong. They could have sliced it up to make it more elusive, I guess. But that was my interpretation. Was it was part of the movie?
Interesting. So yeah, we'll see. I think maybe it's more of something that a smaller chance of happening, but if it does, that'll be really, really cool. A really cool little Easter egg there. So yeah. But yeah, let's wait and see. But I think as Atoku mentioned, I think one of them, I think they've been listed maybe as orc. I think that's one of them. So who knows? Who knows? We also know that we're going to be getting the Eowyn flashback, which is something that is one thing I have meant. There's been hardly any Eowyn, unless I've been wrong in the marketing or anything so far. Am I correct, or has there been something? Because she's part of it. She's one of the big announcements that she would be returning. So yeah,
I think she probably has a smaller role. Like, I wouldn't expect her to be as a narrator present throughout the whole movie. She'll probably just start off the movie, and then maybe she'll do something at the end. So that what little of that we have, they might just want to save that for the movie, because maybe it's just like 1 or 2 minutes. So, but it is a bit weird. But I don't think we saw her like on any photos or anywhere. Someone correct me if I'm wrong.
Fair enough. And also going back to this quickly, good friends Melonheads, they said Dominic and Billy will be featured, and they are voice acting the mysterious character with the rings and the trade. I think that's what Saul mentioned earlier as well. So maybe there is a link between the two right here, and who the people or person is holding these rings are, which is very, very interesting. And we also do know that Saruman's going to be in this. Saruman will be in the Lord of the Rings, the War of the Rohirrim. And does anybody have Shiv? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I think I read that they're using some archival recordings of Christopher Lee, so we're going to be potentially hearing new dialogue that we haven't heard before in the movies coming out of Christopher Lee's mouth. So pretty epic. That's probably like the.
Did they say it was alternate takes from The Hobbit? Yeah, I don't know if they said it was alternate takes from The Hobbit.
Yeah, I think it's something with the Hobbit. Yeah, I think you're right.
I think the line was, is it when they go to Dorgledor and it says, "Are you in Are you in need of assistance, my lady?" I think it's that line that they're going to use, but I think they're going to use an alternate take from it.
Yeah, I think
Alright.
I think it's that, and I think they also, so it's all of that, and I think they also used some kind of technology to like move the words around a little bit. So it's like it is those lines and everything you said, but I think like they just even move it around a little bit somehow. We'll see. But I'm sure it's just going to be like 4 or 5 sentences if we're lucky. But still, hell yeah, give us more Christopher Lee. That man is, as everybody from the movies, he is iconic as Saruman. So getting a little bit of him, hell yeah.
I echo that totally. And I'm sorry, yeah, V.
I'm on. Sorry, I'm on. Okay, my voice. I don't know what happened to it. Sorry. Yeah, that's normal. Okay. I'm only a bit skeptical if they have like asked permission from the family or anything, because like things like that have happened to actors in the past with the
Yeah,
family opposing it,
I think it's been
especially
signed
in
off.
Star
Yeah.
Wars. And there is a lot of like conversations about ethics and AI lately in movies and how they used it to bring back old actors and stuff like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's very nostalgic to use Christopher Lee's voice, and he was a very big part of Lord of the Rings, especially in the trilogy and stuff like that, and a beloved actor. I would have more problem with it if it was a live action. Like, I would prefer a recast there. Uh, but with the voice, at least, I would want to know if they have permission from the family and giving credit and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think so. I think that they had, and I think you're right. I think if it was live action, it'd be a bit more difficult. But I think it's with all these kind of things. I think it's got to play a role and not just do it for the sake of doing it. It's like, what is his role in this? And it's like, are we progressing the story with this, or is it just like if you're putting it in for the sake of it? It's like, do you need to, or is it a homage, or is he actually going to play a part in this story that is going to link up A and B? And that his presence does influence the story, so it will be interesting.
And that's a good question. How does he come into play? We know Isengard isn't very far. It does border, and we know a lot of the Dunlendings and a few of the other human tribes had spoke to him a lot. We know he used to walk in the forest, and with the Ents back in the day. He has been involved some ways in the story, but yeah, specifically within the story period of the War of the Rohirrim and Hammerhand, there isn't a direct correlation as of yet. But if they are bringing rings into it, do you think we'll get a little early reference to what's it called, to that as well? And also quickly, we have V said his widow gave permission before she passed away recently. Oh, so that is very, very good news there. So that is nice.
Yeah.
That is nice too. And Otukai also says he will be the orc rot as well. So yeah, very interesting there. But yeah, so yeah, I want to put that on to you guys. How do we connect A and B with Christopher Lee and his involvement in the story wise? Any possible way? Strider, what do you think?
Well, yeah. So at the start of this story, um, Isengard, because Isengard used to be a Gondorian, under Gondorian control, it is controlled by the Dunlendings at this time. And basically, I mean, this is spoilers, but this is similar, but like on a much less dramatic level, like the cameo of Darth Vader in Rogue One. It's very similar to this. Basically, Saruman shows up at the end of all of this when the Dunlendings are defeated. Spoilers again. And that's when he gets the keys of Orthanc, because Isengard was at that time still officially ruled by Gondor, and since Gondor obviously gave Kalenardon the land that then becomes Rohan, and Rohan doesn't man Isengard either. So they are like, hey, we have this really cool person, this wizard Saruman, very very well respected figure. Let's just give him the keys of Orthanc, and he can go to Isengard. So this is how Isaac basically gets under Saruman's control and is used in good ways for a couple of hundred years until some other things happen. So basically, just like a cool little ribbon that connects this side little thing with the main movies.
Yeah, so also Otaku said Tolkien doesn't have Saruman involved in Rohan until the coronation of King Freelove. After that, he's given the keys to Orthanc. It's very much possible to see the coronation of Freelove because basically Helm dies. Sorry, spoilers again. During the whole siege by the Dunlendings in Helm's Deep, that gets the name after him afterwards. So what happens next is that Freelove actually takes. I think he assists us with the resistance in Helm's Deep, and then he's basically he becomes king of Rohan. Since he is the only surviving male heir to the throne, we don't know about her, of course. So if the movie ends with everything going well, the Dunlendings being pushed off, and everyone returning to Rohan, like to Edoras, so the happy ending to that story would be the coronation, that everything ends well. So Saruman appears in the coronation. So it makes sense to have him at the end, as Strider said. Yeah.
Nice. And
I just want to say we have here in the chat we have some good old melon heads, or at least one of them. So hello there, and welcome to the chat. So they say, good to see you. I personally want to see Christopher Lee Saruman play more than a cameo, as we already know he's appearing. Perhaps he can be an anonymous helper to the Dunlendings. Who knows? There was also another question by Mickey Mouse if he was secretly searching for the ring at this time. So I feel like this is basically like a couple of hundred years before the Lord of the Rings, before the War of the Ring. So I think around this time he should already be straying into all of that. But it would be wild to show him already help with the landings. But I mean, who knows? They could go for that. I feel like though, like in the movies, he it's implied that he maybe goes in the deep end just before the movies. So perhaps they will want to avoid this. But then again, they did play with it already in The Hobbit, so who knows?
I think it has to.
That would be an interesting thing to do.
Sorry. I think it has to do with him having access to the Seeing Stones. How are they called?
The Palantir.
Palantir.
Yeah, the Palantir that is in Orthanc. So after he settles in Orthanc, he communicates with Sauron because that specific Palantir only goes to Mordor. So I think afterwards he's getting manipulated and joins the dark side, if I'm correct. But I'm not entirely sure. Because Orthanc was under Gondor, so it makes sense for one of the surviving Palantirs to be there. And when Saruman started residing there, he probably used it and only saw what Sauron wanted him to see. So it's a bit too early, perhaps.
Yeah, we'll see how. Again, we don't want to say the word timeline compression too much, but yeah, be interesting to see how they order this up. Because again, as Otaku mentions, Saruman should be a friend to Rohan. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they play it off. And one bet again is him literally just them saying, as in The Hobbit, we had Saruman come in and they hinted at him becoming evil. Maybe if we get another hint of that, that's one thing I get, with the rings, a play on that. Maybe something ironic there. And I do bet on a Billy Boyd and Dominic ironic moment with rings, etc., etc. Thing that's gonna be like almost like breaking the fourth wall type thing. I think we'll be seeing here. So it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out, and also how those characters will be implemented in a lot of the returning actors. So yeah, very, very interesting here. And as we go here, also thank you to everyone who is watching on Twitter as well. Really appreciate that. But yeah, as I move on to this
And
still
to the 15 absolute trads watching us on YouTube.
YouTube.
We appreciate
Yeah.
you as well.
Yeah, and again, we did promote the stream about an hour before it went live, and we haven't streamed in about 6 weeks. So we understand if like 80% of people didn't realize you were streaming Sunday. So yeah, no, appreciate the core people here on YouTube randomly out of who weren't expecting us to be streaming on this Sunday, but we'll be back here next Sunday as well, and following Sundays leading up to the film. So yes, should be very, very exciting there. But Shiv, haven't heard from you in a while, my fine sir. What are you just generally? Yep, met the cast, met the crew. What are you most excited for now? You've seen a bit of it up. I think you'll be a good person to kind of give us an idea of now that you've had a bit more of the experience. What are you excited for the most?
I'm kind of excited for a fresh story within Middle Earth. We know that the bits and pieces of the lore, but there's going to be some pieces they'll have to fill in. Seeing the passion from the cast and crew, the writers like Artie, Phoebe, Philippa, like they are clearly very invested in this project, and you can clearly see the passion in the room. So very, very excited to see where this the overall experience of New York Comic Con. It got me really jazzed up for this movie, where anime isn't my forte usually, but just hearing the score, kind of seeing the same art style that we saw in the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, like that influence style. Like I think I look forward to it, and I'm gonna go on a crazy side tangent for 1 second while I'm talking. I ended up watching Alien Romulus over the weekend, and I don't know if anyone's seen where I'm going with this. There is a cameo, a CGI cameo post hominin. I did not know he was like going to be in that movie at all. So spoilers if anyone was planning on watching that movie for the first time. So yeah, he's got a huge role in this movie, and they use CGI, kind of like similar to. I don't want to spoil another thing, but yeah. So yeah, huge role in that movie, and had no idea. So I'm going into this. I went in the movie blind, and I was like, "Wow, how is he still in this?" And yeah, so yeah, that kind of shows the quality of the CGI used. It wasn't terrible, but
it does look a little rough.
Got a little bit of that uncanny valley of like, oh, this doesn't look right.
Yeah, there is a bit of that.
Yeah,
and he's a
hopefully,
large character.
Once we get into the future, Lord of the
Sorry.
Yeah. No, definitely correct. I'm interested to see. I'm sure this gonna become a much bigger debate, definitely in the Tolkien fandom. Further we go into future live action films. So yeah, we'll be saving all this for what's to come over the next years. So yeah, but no, that's a good point though. It is interesting. But yeah, before we wrap up here, I want to just say finally to anybody else, I know we're going to be live next week and over the next following week, so there's still a lot to discuss about. So I don't want to go through everything today because, again, the one thing with stuff like this is that it is a one film drop, so there's only so much we can. But well, great shot by the way. But yeah. So yeah. it's something that we're going to experience in a one-time thing, December till 13th. And I think let's just go over. I know I gave Shiv, I know I gave you gave us your thoughts. But does anybody else want to share this their general thing, what they're most looking forward to for the War of the Rohirrim?
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, nice
yeah.
try. Knew that was gonna. No, I knew it was gonna happen. It always happens.
It always happens. Yeah, sorry. I'll start with a name next time.
I'll go quickly. No, it's fine. It's no. I'm really looking forward. I echo Shiv's point of view. So it's a new story. It's a new medium, which is always interesting. You know, it'd be interesting to kind of say they asked the filmmakers why specifically, or you know, why this medium in particular. You know, animation. I watch a few Studio Ghibli films, and it just echoes that, which is great. But it's like I say, it's just why this medium for this story. But I'm sure a lot will be evident, and I think it's a nice way to go, just to keep the IP fresh. If we have got the Hunt for Gollum in a couple of years, and that's going back to live action with the actors and stuff like that, it just keeps everything fresh. I know Star Wars did it with some shorts as well, where they kind of give animation studios their own little piece and to do things just to keep it fresh. So yeah, really looking forward to it. It's nice to get back into Middle Earth from this point of view, and get back into Rohan, I suppose. So yeah, we'll talk more next week.
There we go. Like that, like that. V, we'll go to you, then we'll go Strider. We'll go up in the line.
You took Strider's time to sign away.
Sorry. Oh, so sorry. So
I'm
sorry.
shining always. I'm good.
Yeah.
He was so keen to start talking.
Oh,
but
sorry.
anyway, apart from Hera, which is I think obvious that I want to say here, I want to discover if that eagle will talk and what he will say, because we have to have an eagle talk in a Tolkien at the face and like, come on, give it to me sometime soon. So yeah.
Fair enough. No, that is a very interesting thing to look forward to. I agree. Very exciting. And Strider, finally you.
Well, I mean, obviously, I'll echo a lot of the stuff these three fine people have already said, but I'm also riding on a the Lord of the Rings high at the moment, because last week I saw for the first time in cinema properly a full-on marathon of the extended editions. And I mean, those really are some of the best movies of all time. We here will say the best. Some people will say maybe not. But honestly, like whether you like them or not, these are the best movies of all time. Anything else can just get on that level, but there's not a level higher than that. 20 years later, they are still as fresh as those tomatoes they were eating on Amon Sul. They're just so good, and I'm just so excited to just go back, like to Middle Earth, to get something new that's connected to the movies as well, because obviously we love the movie universe so much. I'm just hoping the one thing I'm looking forward to the most is I hope we get it. I need that Rohan violin to blast in the cinema once again. I mean, I just listened to like a 10 minutes, like 1 hour on repeat of Lighting of the Beacons. Like the music of Middle Earth, it's just the best thing ever. So I'm just looking, just to be in Middle Earth again. Like if movie is mediocre, it doesn't matter. We are back in Middle Earth. It's the Jacksonverse, as people say it, as people call it, and it's just awesome to be there, to see all that lovely design of Meduseld, of King's Throne, of all of that. It's just really good to be back. And honestly, I can't believe, like, we're going to be sitting in theaters in like less than 2 weeks, in like 12 days, watching Middle Earth on the big screen for the first time, a new thing in Middle Earth again, and it's just so good to be back.
Yeah, you really sold me there, man. I think that's as Shiv says, preach Strider. I think that's a very good way to hype us up. I'm really excited to watch it now. So yeah, no, thank you for that. I think I agree with everything you said. Yeah, the music, the feeling of being back again, and it just being the beginning. Even when I speak to the people at One Buns, we hear it, that they are all emphasizing this is our first run of what's going to be a long run. So there is a lot more to come, and we actually do have, before we wrap up, this from Nikki. Let's hopefully the sound will be working.
My Govanen, friends of Tolkien, this is a message for all the Norwegian Tolkien fans out there. As you all know, there is a big premiere coming up for War of the Rohirrim that we're all very excited about. In Oslo, the premiere is happening on the 6th of December at 6 p.m. at the IMAX at Storo. And if you want to win tickets, please comment below, tag the person that you want to take with you, and we will draw a winner next week. Namarie.
Amazing. So I hope you guys were able to hear that, which I'm guessing you did. Perfect. And yep, so if you are in Norway or around Norway and you want to take part in that, then make sure to check that out. So yeah, I think before we wrap up there, I think we've covered everything. Yeah, and that's right. This is one way, perfect way to put it one last time. And guys, don't worry. So now, from here on out, up to the premiere, Strider, we have a lot planned, don't we? Coming out over the next 2 weeks, stuff to hopefully get you guys excited. So looking forward to all that content.
If I can just quickly pitch in, so people who might be listening on Twitter and are perhaps not following us on YouTube specifically that much, Shiv and I, and maybe someone else, maybe Harry joins, we are covering Dune Prophecy. So we are continuing on in our expansion into other nerdy stuff. So that should drop probably on Tuesday, because HBO drops something in the middle of night for us in Europe. So it takes a while to get things out. So we'll be doing that. And also, as Harry said, like there's a lot of really cool Rohan-focused videos coming out. We'll be covering a lot about Rohan, or about its people, about the land itself. So in the next couple of weeks, there's a lot of really cool themed stuff coming up. So yeah, excited for that.
Yep, and one thing that we're always going to be doing is trying to expand wherever and whenever, and we're also going to be having a link that we're going to be sending out after this stream if you want to apply to be a part of Fellowship of Fans as well and help us in this journey. And I think I might have the doc up somewhere, but we'll be sending that out after this stream as well. And yeah, many franchises that we would like to talk about, we will be aiming to do, and it hopefully should be a very fun new part of what we're doing. And yeah, Dune Prophecy is looking good so far. Rest in peace to that kid. Sorry, spoilers. It's the first episode. Hope you've seen that by now. But yeah, no.
I mean, it's been a couple of weeks, so
yeah, it's been a couple of weeks. It's fine. Yeah. Travis Fimmel is amazing in that.
I've not seen it, and I always feel sorry for him. I'm like, oh, bless him.
If you are a fan of Vikings, though,
yeah,
the show Vikings, Ragnar Lothbrok, Travis Fimmel himself, plays one of the main roles in the show. In the first 2 episodes, he's been really cool. His story is shaping up to be perhaps the most interesting, by far the most interesting one for me personally so far. So if you're a fan of Vikings, you even just on merits of that, you should be watching this because he is really cool there.
No, I echo all that, and yep, thank you. And do you want to take us out straight up?
Yeah. I'm happy you all were online so I could join in. Nick, V, Shiv, Harry, thank you so much. I mean, I just love this, and we'll be having a lot of this in the coming month or two. So
Definitely.
Looking forward to that. And yeah, we are all working on these videos and preparing them. So a lot of cool stuff is coming out on our channel soon. So yeah, thanks to everybody on Twitter. Thanks to everybody on YouTube. Everybody who might be watching this later on. We're back in Middle Earth very, very soon. So with that, have a nice evening, and we'll